Hello and welcome to Real Courage, where I talk with my mouth full because that's how the number one fan raised me. I'm kidding. She did not. Mm. So, today's unsponsored video is brought to you by Little Debbie's and Starbucks. They have a new, it's like an iced chai tea with the matcha cold foam. It's part of a summer remix or whatever. I figured I'd try it. I did combine these. And then I got some, I've been wanting powdered donuts and they were on sale. So I got them. But I don't want to get my hands powdery. So I'm using a fork to eat powdered donuts. That's why I'm like, okay. So, excuse me, we are apparently living in some real live life and find out times. So yesterday, it would be hilarious if it was at the exact same time. Could have been, might not be. I go into work today and I see an email about internal job postings. And one of the positions posted is the one that was not posted yesterday. So at the end of the 8/8 wrap-up video yesterday, when I was talking about how there was an opportunity at work or whatever, but how like it wasn't posted anymore, it went back up. So I was like, it would be hilarious if, as I was reading, somebody somewhere made a decision to post it back up. And then New World Order just made an appearance. I'm trying to do a short live today. And then, come to find out, it's like the Keeper and the Emperor. It's almost like there's a curse that may have been broken by a miracle. I can't remember if I mentioned that part yesterday. Now it was the Emperor with the Keeper, and now the Keeper is with the Empress. The Keeper is sitting in between the Emperor and the Empress. That's interesting. Yeah, like potentially a curse that's broken by a miracle. There's the Dynasty, 10 of Pentacles, which has been with the 5 of Cups. This has been the one where there's something growing in the void now. The 5 of Cups. It's because there's a pentacle in the water and a pentacle on this person's cloak that it's like, yeah, he is the 11th pentacle. Because there was a question a few reads ago about, okay, like there's some magic that's going on in the void, but like, I'm not reading all these. What do you put there? Here's another card that is loving coming out lately, the Healer, the Star. And then we have the Scarlet Shield, Power and Authority of Air, the Joined One, and the Hollow Void. 2 of Cups, 4 of Cups, Queen of Swords energy. Interesting. Is she the last? Well, I don't know if we've seen the Queen of Wands yet. Yeah, Power and Authority of Fire. I feel like we have. The Queens have been making appearances. Title card at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, we live in some real live life and find out times because, again, it's like the most unexpected thing. may be happening to bring things towards a completion. And it's the miracle that breaks the curse. So I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but one of my coworkers was like, every time we get fully staffed, something happens and somebody leaves or they quit, which is basically the same thing. She was like, every time we become fully staffed, somebody leaves. And as soon as it happens, as soon as we're ready, like as soon as training is over, somebody leaves. Now, the void that was created, yeah, I think I talked about this because I was like, if I were to take the opportunity now, there would be a void because the person that I was hoping would take my spot took the person who left spot. The unexpected, like the kicker is that like somebody is coming back who we didn't know if they would be coming back or not. Sounds like they might be. So that's the miracle that breaks the curse. And that's like, it's so live life and find out, because if that happens, nobody would have seen that coming. And then we'll be full staff again. And the strangest twist of events, and I feel like there was something else. I don't know. Anyway. All right, let's see. I combined the SKTs, Spirit Keeper's Tarot, Vitruvian, and Revelations. I kind of want to just do a 3-card spread. I don't know if this upcoming new moon is starting to intrigue me because of everything happening, because of all of this live life and find out, oh my gosh, what energy. I kind of want to use a spread, but I don't want to use one that I've built. I kind of want to get into building spreads again. I guess I've had enough time, but ooh. They do. I don't know if I can use this though. Can I put this in dark mode? I may not be able to, but if I do this, I wonder if I can. Dark mode. Let's see if that'll work. No, it didn't. Darn it. It's fine. This is from when before I had my surgery. So the background, I had high contrast mode on and the background was black. And so I used light colors to write so I could see it. But now that I can read again, it's like light colors on a light background. What if I change it to like this purple? Does that help? Does that mute these colors? I'm going to use this spread. Are not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just going to pull cards because I already said I wanted this to be like a short reading. So yeah, things are real interesting. I don't know what's happening, what's going on. I'm just going to keep living life. And like, I don't know, like today was, I guess there's an energy of graduation as well. Or an energy of the completion. Like there's one person in my personal life who has just completed a process that they're going through. I just finished training. And now that like training is over, I get help. Now that training is over, I don't have to do everything by myself, which is amazing. And it came the point in time during training that I had to do everything by myself because there are going to be times that I'm alone. And so it's like it's better to simulate that while there is someone there to help and answer questions and everything, rather than to have the first time being when I have no one. Ooh, no, Pat caught you. You ain't falling out. Like 5 cars just tried to fall out. The Blind Seer, Moon in Libra. This is one of the cards that, when she was building the deck, the bottom of the deck is the Scarlet Shield again. So we have that Queen of Swords. The queens are masculine and the kings are no. Air and fire are masculine. Water and earth are feminine in this deck. So the queens, the shields are masculine for air and fire. Just saw the Scarlet Shield in the Vitruvian edition. Sanctum of the Valiant. Oh. But anyway, this is one of the cards that as she was building the deck, she was like talking about this in the background and whether it should be off to the side or whether it should be centered behind the character in front. I think at that time, this wasn't there yet. Excuse me. So we get the sun, the moon, and this it's not Metatron's cube. It's something probably occult that I don't know. The sun, the moon, this cube, and then the divine eye in the middle. The building off to the side, and it's interesting because they're not exactly the same, but you have the ziggurats, I think, in the back of the Sanctum of the Valiant. And then we have, so under the Scarlet Shield is the burdened one that was the focus yesterday, and under that is the Emperor that was at the cut with the, and it's interesting because it was the Revelations Emperor at the cut with the Keeper in the Vitruvian edition. And then it was that same Vitruvian Keeper with the Revelations Empress. And then the Six of Pentacles, the Giver, and the Herald of the Earth, and the Mages are behind that. I'm not reading this. I'm not. The Blind Seer, though, especially in this deck, well, sometimes the Two of Swords is a card where there is no, it's like if we use logic, then there's no way to break an impasse. There's not necessarily a logical solution, but there is an intuitive one because there's a force that has a sight beyond ours, that has a knowing that far supersedes and exceeds ours. And when we use our intuition and discernment, then it can answer questions that otherwise we may find difficult to answer. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is it Horus and Apep? The bird and the snake are, it's a symbolism that might appear in a few different cultures, but I know it symbolizes order winning out over chaos. The snake is chaos, the bird is order. And then we have the bird sitting here. And I'm almost like, where's the snake? But then immediately after that is this burdened one. So is the burdened one the snake? Probably. Okay. All right. So for realsingtons now. What's up with all this live life and find out energy? I feel like it would defeat the point and purpose. I forgot the title card came out yesterday. I feel like it would low-key kind of defeat the point and purpose if I'm like, well, why do we have to live life and find out? So SKT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle it. Vitruvian is going to be live life. Revelations is going to be find out. So in that way, we're going to see what happens as we're living life and what we're going to be finding out. It's like F around and find out. I never thought of it that way, but oof. So this is the finding out. Living life is Vitruvian. Finding out is the revelations, of course. Oh, we've been seeing the Scarlet Shield. The Archangel Commander came out, which is, I feel like every time I've gone live, I've talked about this lately. It's Archangel Michael, the Archangel Commander in particular, gives us, it's like, we go to Archangel Michael or whatever. We go to the divine in whatever face the divine or the divine like is wearing. And we pray, we ask for something, and we're told, basically in short, that we have to go about doing it ourselves. And there may be some resistance because we're like, what are you talking about? And then we go and we do it. And there's something that it's like we're empowered in some way. There's something that we learn or discover about ourselves. There's a new way of being. There's something that happens as a result of us doing something ourselves rather than it being solved and resolved by the divine behind the scenes in those unseen ways, mysterious ways. And then after its conclusion, we go to the divine and then we're like, I see now why I had to do this. Or like, it's not like, what? I'm capable of doing this. And the divine's like, yeah. And more. And much, much more. But then after that, it's like that is built upon. Because there's even more to the thing that we discover. Like there are even more applications, or it goes even deeper, or whatever. And Archangel Commander is the one that issues the challenge that basically by refusing to do what we request. And then that offers to assist us in honing whatever that thing is. So Archangel Commander is here, the angel of storms and battles. Oh, he's looking a little fierce in this. And then there's the shield inside the shield, inside the shield, inside the shield. But what I'm looking at this time is this, because that is at the keystone in a card that I saw yesterday. I'm pretty sure I saw the card yesterday. And I mentioned it. I can't remember if it was in the 8-8 reading or if it was the pre-8-8 or if it was in one of the prophecies. But it's how the willpower, like something rests upon the willpower that holds that archway, that doorway together. Unless it's like that resistance. If it's resistance, then, we don't, whatever. I really can't believe I can't remember the card is. I think it was in the Dreams of Gaia. No. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I saw it yesterday. And it wouldn't have been in the Tarot Apocalypses. Because I only used that yesterday. Is it in this deck? Is it in the SKT? I don't know. But that's given me that willpower, the power of will. At the bottom of the deck, also the Archangel Commander has the helmet off, which is interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Malaise, which is the moon in Sagittarius. We just had this Saturn in Sagittarius and the moon in Taurus. Now the moon is in Sagittarius. Malaise is the 9 of Wands. Oh, look. Hold up. See? I need some clarification because that is some interesting energy. Of course. Oh my gosh. Oh, if we're getting cards by the threes again, we might be back in that prophecy energy. Oh, okay. So apparently we're finding out a whole lot right now. Because all of this looks like it's Revelations. And then now the Emperor is at the bottom of the deck again. Oh, but the bird that's taken flight. I can show you the bird because it literally came right back out. This block back here was reminding me of this magic square that the Archangel Commander is standing in front of. Oh my gosh. And the shield came back out too. Literally just put these cards back. And the cards was like, why you put us back? We ain't done. You ain't even read us. There's a Scarlet Shield again. So we see the shield to the Archangel. That happened yesterday with the Archangel of Healing and the Ivory Shield. So the Blind Seer, Two of Swords, the Scarlet Shield, and the Burdened One. There's the Saturn in Sagittarius. And the Moon in Taurus. No, it was Moon in Libra. Moon in Libra, sextile Saturn in Sagittarius. Again, the Vitruvian or the Revelations is everything that we're finding out. Apparently, we're finding out a whole lot of stuff. And when it comes to living life, it's the Nine of Wands. Do your best. You're doing so well, sweetie. You got this. Oh, you all beat up, battered, bruised, bloody, about to pass out. They're like, you're doing amazing. You're like, somebody please help me. They're like, help you? Why? You got this. You're a rock star. You're doing awesome. The only thing we have for living life is the Nine of Wands. And then we get 5 cards. I can do math. New World Order, which is Saturn. The Champion, which is Jupiter and Leo. 6 of Scepters. And then Apocalypse, which is Last Judgment. Crown of the Magi is New World Order. Crown of the Magi, the Champion, Last Judgment. I'm going to put these this way, the order that came out. And then there's the Gardener, Saturn in Taurus. And then the Quester, Venus in, or Mercury in Aquarius. There's a lot of fixed energy here, actually. We got Saturn, which has the 4 fixed signs. Jupiter in Leo. Mercury in Aquarius, Saturn in Taurus. So the only fixed sign that's not here is Scorpio. But Apocalypse is here, which is fire. Traditionally, but modernly, I'm pretty sure it's associated with Pluto. And Pluto rules Scorpio. So we get Scorpio through it's whatever that astrology word is for the planet that rules a sign. I feel like it's not essential. It's like essential dignitary or something like that. I don't remember. I'm tired. So we're finding out New World Order, the Champion, Apocalypse. Then we're living life as the Gardener, 7 of Pentacles. And then we find out the Quester. Then things move forward. But what I'm looking at in this Quester is this full moon. Because there's a full moon here. I noticed that earlier. I didn't know what to think of it, so I didn't say anything. And again, this is interesting because Archangel Commander is like, you can carry yourself to calmer waters. There was something else I was going to point out. Oh. We have the cube here. We have the full moon in both of these. But since the Archangel isn't participating, we're going to say that the full moon is here. Now we just need the sun. Now, at the bottom of the deck is the emperor, and the emperor sits in front of the sun. So, sure, why not? The blind seer sits at this intersection between the Quester Six of Swords, New World Order, which is the world, and the Emperor. What's interesting is that this is a three-way crossroads. And yesterday saw the two of, it has to be the Two of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the Two of Wands, because I don't think the Two of Pentacles came out. No, that wasn't yesterday. That was Prophecy 3, I think. That's when I used the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. It was the Two of Air that had the black and white, the Two of Water that had the embrace where that heart glow was. And then, was it the Two of Fire or was it the Two of Earth? I can't recall what either card looks like. It might have been the Two of Earth. But this is 3. So there's like a real depth here. But then there's this 4th dimension that the divine occupies. Because it's like this is 3 separate axes. And then this is the 4th one. That sort of like looks down on all 3 of them as if it were flat. So it is like a higher dimensional energy. It's interesting that 2 of these are major arcana. It's also interesting that the Emperor holds the Ankh while the Quester is holding ? That universal Mercury. And it's red. The red color of that Mercury, of course, makes me think of the Emperor. So again, like this is all the stuff that we're finding out. Again, as we're living life so far, it's the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles. Which is like, probably sucks, really difficult, probably feels like a minimal payout and payoff or whatever. And then the 7 of Pentacles is the gardener. And it's just like, oh, all of your hard work is not for naught. Know that you are gathering the materials, resources, whatever you need in order to whatever. Like with the 7 of Pentacles, it's cultivating, nurturing, nourishing, providing nourishment. And it's like tilling the land, aerating soil, watering it. It's giving it what it needs to reach a space and a state of fruition, bearing fruit. And the 10 of Wands is here. The 10 of Wands is a card of spiritual journeys. The 6 of Swords is as well as like the 8 of Cups. It's one of the cards that typically depict movement. Oh, this is interesting. So I guess it's a good thing I didn't find this one. I didn't even notice it last time because in this 10 of Wands, there's like this Atlas type figure in the back rather than the beasts of burden that are on the Vitruvian 10 of Wands. And that was the energy that matched that 7 of, oh, it was the 7 of Pentacles. Duh. It was the 7 of Pentacles in the Tarot Apocalypse yesterday. that made me think of the Ten of Wands, because in the Seven of Pentacles, the people were actually using the beast of burden rather than carrying everything themselves. Also, there is the tree. It looks like this is interesting because I saw that in an anime last night. Like there's this tree that's almost struggling to thrive because it feels like on the not the dark side of the mountain, but like with it being that close to the mountain, like maybe it doesn't get enough rain or whatever. There's not a lot of green on that tree behind her. But then we have this Kabbalah tree of life on Apocalypse that is radiant and thriving. And you can see the water in the background. Oh, these are getting all out of order. So I feel like I should try to find the divine eye, but maybe I don't have to because of this Ten of Wands. It is a card can be of intervention. Sanctum of the Valiant, and then we have the Champion right under it. Here is the Ark of the Covenant, which is about promises. The Emperor has a book. Ooh. Is this it's not cheating. It's not cheating if you're given, like, it's not cheating on the test if it's an open book, open note test. It's not unfair for one to utilize their resources, especially if everyone has access to those resources. It's like the test factors those things in. What's also interesting is I'm noticing this wand, the two-sided wand that rests on the whatever that's called mantle. There has to be a technical word for that flat part of a throne. On the mantle of the throne, there's this double-sided wand, one light crystal, one dark crystal. And maybe that's why that unfair or that cheating energy is almost coming in, but it's like we have access to all of that. It's not the Emperor's fault if other people only want to look at one side of a situation. You know what I mean? And it's not even necessarily an other people thing. Again, it's just like utilizing everything that we have at our disposal. We have the opportunity to learn and grow from both good and bad experiences. Now, the bad experiences are the ones that we typically grow more. I don't know if grow is necessarily. The bad experiences are the ones that we're typically affected by more. But because of the nature of them being bad, we don't want to look at it, think of it, whatever. We don't want to sit there any longer than we have to. So it's almost like there's a lot of information. There are a lot of hints and clues, and I want to say guides, but there are a lot of hints and clues that exist there that we don't, again, like, since we don't want to get into it, we just sort of like miss out. And so we're doing our best, sometimes with half or a little more or a little less or however much, with not all of the information. But he is looking in that direction specifically. And that is where the bird is. Again, on the shield of the scarlet shield, we see the bird and the snake. This emperor is taking the good from the bad, is learning, is growing, can look at it, can face it, and not be consumed by it. That isn't necessarily easy for a lot of people by nature of what it is. But the emperor is doing it, and the emperor is learning. The emperor is gaining something from it. That makes me want to look before and after the book. I have a few Lenormand. I have the Mirror Truth Lenormand, the Gilded. I'll use that one. I don't know where it is. It should be in here. But I've moved so many of these. I don't even know if it's still in here. Oh, I don't want to use this one. No. No, I don't want to use this. Maybe it's up here because I moved a lot of the smaller decks up here. I'm not seeing it. I have the Santa Muerte, La Santa Muerte Lenormand, but I don't want to use the La Santa Muerte. I want to use the expanded Gilded Reverie Lenormand. I don't know if it's up here though. I might grab it. Yeah, I'm gonna grab it. It's making me think of the book. I don't know if I've seen the book lately. All right, I'll be right back. It's already been 36 minutes. Oof. It's fine. It is fine. Oh, come on. Do I know what it is I'm looking for? Yes, I do. I think. Oh, here it is right here. Yay! The Gilded Reverie Lenormand. The expanded edition. I'm going through this one in particular because they got the compass, the mask, and the maze, and all kinds of other stuff. There was a little Lenormand type project that I started / wanted to do, but I never did it. Maybe I'll do that on my next day. Okay. As it is, or am I shuffling it? I'll do both. So as it is the live life. And then I'll shuffle it, and then we'll do the find out. There's the letter. Thank you. 10 and 40. The mask and the scythe. See, that's why I use this one, because you get the expanded cards. Ooh. Oh, Lily's 30 came out. I'm putting it back. But it flipped over. I have the number because I think what happened? What was it? Was it when I combined the mystical shaman? Because I remember it was lightning. That was that time. Lightning and Vision Quest. Because I think it was 10 and 40 maybe. And it was like there are these things that are happening in the spirit, but with no anchor to the physical. We have to harmonize with it in order to tap into it, to connect the ionic chain between these charged particles in the clouds or whatever. To try to get lightning to strike the tower. All right. The ship, the rider, Oof. Look at that movement. And then the bear. Even the bear is moving. This bear said hibernation who? Hibernation where? The only thing sleep around here is, I don't know, I can't finish the quote. Ooh. We got the sexy man and the sexy woman. Sexy man looking at the sexy woman and the sexy woman looking out the window. With the cross behind him. Oh, snap. And then there's the book. Sexy man, sexy woman, the cross, and then the book with the dice. Oof, well, yeah. So this is what we're finding out. 39 and 36. The 3 is consistent, but the 6 turns into the 9. There's the book if you're curious. Look, it's got a lock on it. That's making me think of prophecies 1 and 2. Prophecy 1 because of the lock. Prophecy 2 because of the wheel. Don't necessarily mean nothing. Oh, look, 6 of clubs, 6 of wands, the champion. 6 of clubs, the jack of diamonds, and 2 wild cards. So as we're living life, oops, oh my gosh. As we're living life, we have the mask and the scythe. The mask and the scythe is interesting, though. This is about the emperor and his book. The mask and the scythe is interesting because it's very mutable in nature. It's like, it makes me think of Vane, in the La Fruma. But it's like vain in like the derogatory sense, if that even would be considered that way. Because it's like how someone is kind of like wishy-washy, but with the emperor, it's like the emperor knows how to be whoever they need to be in a situation in order to get things done. Because it's like, depending on the face, then certain things will be faster and other things will be slower. What's also interesting, though, is this. The sun and the moon. Oh, see? And then this would be earth because of the harvest. So like these are the upper forces of the sun and the moon, and then this is the third one, the 3D. So in living life, and it makes me think of like a boss, and how it's like you don't necessarily want a boss that's going to be extremely strict and like micromanaging and stuff. But you also don't necessarily want that's going to be super lax and like a pushover. And so it's like it's the easygoing boss that's able to be like strict or enforce a boundary when they need to, or vice versa. Like the really strict one who's able to like lighten up or loosen up when the situation isn't necessarily as tense as it needs to be. Like it's very able to adapt to a situation to get the best outcome. That's why it reads as mutable. Not necessarily reading as shadowy. Not necessarily reading as like fake or two-faced or whatever. Well, maybe people who read it that way, but I'm a Pisces. I'm mutable. I see the value in it. That's living life, which is kind of also like putting your best foot forward in different situations. It's an energy that wears many hats. The emperor is responsible for a lot. The emperor doesn't necessarily have to be a master of everything, but the emperor needs good counsel, and the emperor needs to be able to like leverage information, which is a sort of openness. Now, the finding out part is the cross and the dice, which feels like it's just like it's up to chance. It feels like there are no guarantees in life. This feels like there are no guarantees in life energy. And it's almost by nature of mysterious ways. Because it's like, if our intuition and discernment tells us to do a thing and we do it and we really think it's going to work out one way, but it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it reveals like a distortion, a misconception, limitation, restriction, a blind spot that we have. It isn't necessarily always meant to last, but there is something of value that it gives us as we move forward. And again, it's almost like that part falls into the like either way, whether good or bad, there's something that the emperor is able to take from it. Whether it works out in the way that the emperor thinks or not, it's still going to be of use. It's still going to be beneficial. And that ability to leverage information probably helps with that. So it's almost like the emperor takes on a characteristic of life in that way. Because life isn't always one thing, or things aren't necessarily always they appear. Things aren't necessarily always as they appear. Is that what I said? I feel like I skipped a word when I said that. And it plays into that mutability of this emperor. Because it's like when it's not working out necessarily the way the emperor would have liked, the emperor is able to like pivot, be flexible, malleable, and work with it rather than becoming rigid and then snapping and breaking and there being some tower moment. But it's like in the times that are less certain, that are more fluid, the emperor. I saw the anchor. Did I see the anchor? Maybe I didn't see the anchor. Now I'm curious. I'm curious about it now, though. I saw the anchor. Oh yeah, I did. It's right here after the sun. So it's bouquet, the anchor, the sun, and lilies. So flowers on both sides, but the anchor and the sun in the middle. The anchor came out in the La Santa Muerte tarot. It was El Ancla. And I was like, El Ancla with Ancla, I would have thought it was feminine. I would have thought it was La Ancla, but it was El Ancla and El Cruce. Oh, yeah, the crossroads. Duh. And it was like, because in that deck in particular, and also in this one, the anchors are in the water. Well, this one is questionable. It's like in this deck, the anchor is being thrown into the water. Or is it being pulled out of the water? That's a question for you. But in La Santa Muerte, Lenormand, it was in the water at the bottom of the ocean doing what the anchor does best. And it was because it was so deeply anchored that it made a crossroads more navigable. It introduced an element of clarity, whether it's like that's just fraught with confusion, and it brought certainty amidst uncertain times. Because the anchor was where the anchor is supposed to be, and it was within the self. Why am I talking about the anchor? I don't remember. Oh yeah, because the emperor is able to anchor when it needs to anchor. This emperor. So it's that ability of the emperor, of emperor energy partnered with this quester, six of swords. Like the quester and the six of swords, it's not a fool, it's different. Like I've seen on Twitter somebody made a post that was like, it was basically like only the fool thinks that they know anything. The wise man knows that they don't know anything. And then the person made a comment that was like, I don't know anything. And it had some emoji. But then if you look at everything that they post and if you look at like what they say, it's like for somebody who doesn't know anything, supposedly you sure act like you know a lot. And it becomes contradictory. But it's in a way that's like, it's like once something enters a realm as knowing, it becomes locked and immutable. But because we're human, continuing to live life, and we never necessarily within our incarnation reach a point where we know everything, it can be dangerous to ever treat any knowing as immutable. Because as we continue to learn and grow, the truth might change and evolve as we do. We may be shown more of a situation, or we may, it's almost like develop a compassion. Like it comes to me as develop a compassion, but it's an understanding of how situations and circumstances affect our choices and decisions, and how when we have a certain experience, then there are certain things that we learn to be true that are almost not entirely based upon that experience, but it's like it's because of those experiences that it makes something more easily seen as true. And it's not that it's untrue. It may not necessarily be like universally or globally true. It may be situationally true, but within that situation, it is true. And it's just like there's an openness with this quester. It's this never ending quest. None of these swords have pierced the boat besides maybe these two, maybe. But it's like the ones that haven't pierced the boat, it's like this floating knowledge and this floating information. Either it's a truth that one has and they don't necessarily know where that truth applies or how it applies exactly, or it's a truth that one is carrying, but it's one that's subject and liable to change, likely to change as one experiences more life and grows more and comes into whatever they come into in a way that their experience significantly changes. Or their experience changes in a way that gets them to see something that they held as immutable truth. It gets them to see it in a more like, okay, well, in that situation, from that point of view and perspective, yes. But as I've continued, I can now see how it may not necessarily be applicable in every situation 100% of the time. But it's just like it's that remaining openness that also helps this emperor navigate, because it gives the emperor that mutability that allows it to adjust to whatever situation, and it allows the emperor to change in ways to make a certain outcome more likely. Excuse me. And again, it's not necessarily feeling like whatever, but people are going to take it however they take it. I guess I didn't necessarily have to include that. It doesn't feel, it feels like it's the strength of mutable energy and mutability rather than the shadow. But also, again, this emperor has gone through and has learned from both the light and shadow of mutable energy. And then there's this third piece that's the New World Order. Like I was going somewhere with that, and I feel like I kind of got sidetracked a little bit. It's almost been an hour. This is not short. That's fine. Obviously, I didn't want it to be short because if I did, I would have ended it after the first few cards came out. There's something with this New World Order here. It's the changing world. So it's like as this emperor is moving with the things anchored that needs to, and maybe this anchor is relative. There are things that are anchored at the ocean floor, there are things that are anchored at the surface, and there are things that are anchored all the way up in the air. Who knows where? Unanchored. But it's like what this does is it's a gift of mutability for the emperor, but it also has the emperor form a loose enough attachment to the world that it allows the world to change. Because so many times when we come to believe something as true, we can, I feel like words are starting to escape me. But it's like when we believe something to be true, we don't allow ourselves to see otherwise. And so that's when truth or a believed or a perceived truth can become a blindfold or a blinder. I feel like it was something to do with the Scarlet Shield. There was something over here that was tying in. But yeah, there's a lot to find out. When we live life, we do our best. We do our best and we take what we can from situations as they present themselves, knowing that it's not always going to be easy. Also, knowing that it's not always going to be challenging and difficult. But yeah, I guess that's it. I really feel like I'm pretty, like, I think I communicated it more or less. Uh, I think I got it more or less. Um, I just noticed this, like, I noticed it on the Archangel Commander, but I didn't notice it around the shield. This thingy. Like, I feel like it just slipped out of my brain. It's fine. Okay. Well, it's been long enough. I think I got it. Maybe it was something to do with the cross and the Emperor. The cross, the Emperor, and this mask. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of like lens flare. The sun peeking out behind the scythe, the sun at the top of the mask, the sun peeking out behind the cross. And then we have the dice here that don't have the sun, but it shows up in all of these. And then again, it's like right behind the Emperor. I was going to say it's interesting that the Emperor feels like us. Maybe. Because maybe it's interesting because it's major arcana energy. I mean, we can be majors, but like something about this it feels major. Like it feels like it's a big deal, which I'm not surprised about because of the Archangel Commander. The Archangel Commander came out. The energy of the Archangel Commander came out yesterday because it was the Ace of Swords with the Devil. Um, and there was no raw meat at the table. The Fool? Was that the Fool? Or was that another card? I think it was the Fool. Whatever card that had the excerpt of no raw meat at the table. And it was that energy of like getting closer to the divine. Like that's what the Archangel Commander helps us do. When we through his refusal to do something for us, refusal is a strong word, but from the human perspective, through his refusal to do something for us, there's the thing that we find within ourselves. And then there's the subsequent opportunity to develop that thing. And it feels like the development of that thing is what pushes us. It's not that it necessarily pushes us closer to it does push us closer to the divine. It's like it's almost like if faith is a magnifying glass. There is a magnifying glass card. It's like there is the sun that is, I guess, the divine or whatever the sun is. And like if faith is a magnifying glass or if it's a lens, then it does something to like adjust the lens to the point where it can like create fire. First two cards fell off, and then, girl, I got a handful of cards left. Let's see if the magnifying glass is in here. Well, maybe not. See, there is Anubis. There's the coffin. There's that death energy that was coming out. And then the fox is there. See, it's just like it's giving me coyote energy. The witness, the lower world, and the coyote, that was the jaguar. But it's like it's things that I don't want to say like we're getting into some real iffy territory because it's the dark side of life. But it's the thing that certain unpleasant experiences have to give us and teach us. And when we find whatever truth is for us to find from those situations and experiences, I almost want to say experiments, from those experiences, then we get to look at it through a different lens. We get to look at it through appreciation and gratitude in some part and in some way, however strangely and surprisingly and impossibly. We look at it with gratitude for what it teaches us, what it taught us, or how we live our lives differently, what we see, witness, experience differently after that moment. But there is almost a recognition that like it's because of that moment that something was changed or a decision was made. I think the expanded version does have a magnifying glass in it. Oh, look, now the book is with the key. Unlock the book. The card is on the floor. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Why did these cards just slide out on the floor? Tegami. I don't know why that just popped into my mind. I'm learning Spanish on Duolingo. I didn't know that I know Japanese as well as I do. Because when my brain is trying to think of a word in Spanish, my subconscious, I guess, would be like, oh, here's the word in Japanese. But if I were trying to think of the word in Japanese, would it come to me? I don't know if that's some like secondary bridging mechanism, whatever, however brains work. Um, but yeah, it'll be so often where I'll just sprinkle Japanese in, and I'm like, okay, because yeah, our brain's like, oh, not English. 44, the garden. Ooh, the garden, the magnifying glass, and the daybirds. The daybirds is interesting because the night birds were over here. Where were they? With the clouds, that's what it was. It was the owl with the clouds. Oh, and then the clock. But the clock is like all these birdhouses. So it's like the owl is able to find its way home through the clouds. Cool, I bet. I think that, yeah, this is the garden. El Jardín. El Jardín did come out. Maybe it didn't come out. Maybe I just saw it when I was looking through the cards. This is interesting because here's this thing in the garden. And then in the magnifying glass, it looks like the magnifying glass is being put over here, like it's looking for something within that meeting space at the garden. Oh, look, the clock. There's the birds in the birdhouse. The day birds don't have to go looking for home, they're already there. Well, I guess that makes sense. Oh, kind of. And then there are the night birds. Oh, maybe this is like a meeting of light and dark. The light birds are already home. The owls, the night birds, are finding their way home through the clouds. And then again, with this emperor, there's this both. Oh, look, and on the dark side of the wand is the bird in flight. Interesting. And then let's call that the birdhouse, that Ark of the Covenant. Cool. Now I get to pick up the rest of these cards that just decided to slide onto the floor so that Patrick could pick them up. Is 52 card pickup an actual game? Like, I've never played it. Let's play 52 card pickup. It's like, why would you make a mess and then create a game to see who can clean it best? I don't know. Anyway. It was that one episode of Bob's Burgers with the health inspector, the first time you see Hugo. This is a lot of finding out. A lot of finding out. And when it comes to living life, it's just like, oh, do your best. Continue to do your best and know that all of your efforts are going to pay off eventually someday, maybe. But again, because it's like the high priestess came out at one point not too long ago, and it was this energy of like, do you think that the divine, the universe, spirit, the grand scheme, the grand intelligence behind everything, like, do you think like they don't know that living life on earth is hard and it's difficult? It's like, oh yeah, they're omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, all of this stuff, but they don't know what it's like to live on earth. I don't know. And it's like, well, if you did, then wouldn't you do something? Hello? If you know that it's hard, wouldn't you make it easier? And they're like, I don't know. I don't speak for nobody but me. I'm going to have reversals all up in this thing. Oh, it's the keeper. But this time it's the Vitruvian. The two birds, they're like facing each other. And then there's the golden or anyway. Interesting. Cool. I was using card backs to separate these. Oh, I was like, I'm still going through these cards. I'm like, hold up. This ain't. I was using card backs and then the Wheel of Life. The Keeper and the Wheel of Life. Here she is. I put the Archangel Commander on top of her. They're different, but it's almost like this Keeper is balancing two wheels of life. You can see them here and here. Okay, I just want to make sure I get these all up right. I'm going to get final cards and then I'm going to go to sleep so I can wake up and go to work. I love the schedule that I'm working. Like 12-hour days can be long, especially the overnight shift. Don't get me wrong. But working 4 days and being off 4 days. I work 2 days and I'm already halfway through the work week. And then I get 4 days off. like, I don't know if after working this, I can go to anything else. I mean, obviously I could, but I'm really enjoying it now. I went to the grocery store this morning. I went to Starbucks. Ain't no line because everybody's still asleep. Ain't nobody up and out yet. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm kind of loving this. I could get used to this. These cards keep wanting to twist and change and turn. And it's this deck. It keeps like twisting, changing, coming out face down. I feel like it plays into that question of how, as we continue to live, learn, and grow, there are things that continue to change. There are truths that there's our emperor. What's true today may not necessarily be true tomorrow. Not because it's like we were lied to, but just because through nature of growing up. You know what I mean? Through nature and through virtue of maturing. Through virtue of being able to see more and do more and handle more. There's our Archangel of Mysteries. Do-do-do-do. Phenomenon. 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 We're getting down to the wire. Let's see which deck will be complete first. Oh, and the Vitruvian is complete first. We have at the bottom of the deck, before I shuffle and get the final cards, the Chariot on the Revelation side. And of course, if you were expecting anyone else, I don't know why, the Archangel Commander on the Vitruvian side. Archangel Commander is coming out like crazy. The King of Swords was coming out for a hot second too. And the King of Swords for a minute was the masculine side of the High Priestess. And it was an energy of like the Queen of Cups is the feminine side of the High Priestess. And it's our ability to intuit and discern potential pathways. But it's like when we do that, we don't necessarily see our part and our role in it. we don't necessarily see how our actions will produce an outcome that's different than the one that we see, or different than the one that we're shown. But the King of Swords is able to do that. It doesn't necessarily do it out of the same intuitive sense, but it's like it uses logic in order to be able to bridge the gap. And so he was coming out as that gap bridger, as being able to see the result of what we do. Because sometimes it's like, we get a message, sign, symbol, synchronicities, and knowing that we're going to get $1,000,000. And so we think, oh, I'm going to get $1,000,000. I don't need to go to work. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. My money is going to come to me. I ain't got to do nothing. And then we get upset when we don't get that $1,000,000. But it's like, in reality, there was an opportunity. And it's like, if we would have done this, or if we would have done that, then we would have gotten that $1,000,000. Like, the thing that we have to do, or how our actions affect things, it can, or within that time frame where the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords was coming out, like, the Queen of Cups isn't able to see that. And so she sometimes assumes she doesn't have to do anything. Or if she's doing something and she sees a potential outcome, then she'll assume that if she keeps doing it, or if she does this or does that, then it will come to be. But it's like, she's not able to see how her presence changes things. It's the King of Swords that could do that. Anyway, when that was coming through, he was coming out a lot. He was coming out a lot. Okay. No, the bouquet and lilies again. You can buy yourself flowers. You can hold your own hand. Who asking for love? The universe said you good. The divine said you fine. You don't need nobody. The divine said a lover for why? I'm just kidding. Maybe it's about self-love. Also, it's just like, it's giving you your flowers. There may be some like real giving you your flowers moments. Again, it feels like it's coming off of the wrap up to the 8-8, but also there was a reading. I can't remember if it was part of the prophecies or not, if it was one of the prophecies, but it was like, was it prophecy 1? I think it was prophecy 1, where it's like there was something to have been done by last Virgo season. It was like between Virgo seasons, and we had already accomplished it. And it's like, great, keep going. Or like, enjoy where you are and then keep going. Unless you like where you're at, then you can stay there forever. Okay. All right. Lenormand, give me 2. No. Yeah, give me 2 cards. Oh, they're face down. That's another card. It's the sun, though, so I'll take it. I will allow it. Sunset allowed what? Oh, only had 1 card. LOL. It's the second card that I asked for. I thought 2 cards fell out. Ooh, look at this energy. Sailing right into the sun like a helium balloon. That's gorgeous. Maybe that's why the Lenormand is trying to give us our flowers. The stork and the magnifying glass. And then the mask is behind that magnifying glass. And the clover is behind the mask. What is number 24? I didn't even notice that the first time. I see this. There's a bird up there. There's a bird up there. Right there. There's the bird. Oh, there's another one right there. Keeper, is that you? This 24. I didn't notice that the first time. They're like cards or illustrations down here. I don't know if it'll be hard to miss. Like this stork energy is giving me new beginnings. They're building a nest. Again, we see the sun poking out very visibly. Um, but because of the magnifying glass, again, I don't know if it'll be easy to miss or easy to discredit, easy to discount, easy to bypass, easy to like, oh, 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 that came out of nowhere. Excuse me. The scratchiest of throats. Like it almost, oh my gosh. It almost feels like it would be really easy. So like it's like somebody comes and offers you something. And you look at it and you're like, ew, no. Not necessarily with that much visible disgust on thine countenance or face or visage. Um, but it's like, we're like, that's not what I asked for. That's not what I want. That is below me. That is beneath me. Really, really, really. But it's like, that's the very thing. That's the answer. It's like the mouse that comes and helps the lion. It's, and I feel like I literally just talked about that. I don't remember the context of why. Um, but I don't know if it's like the smallest gesture. Like when they say that big things come in small packages, it's this type of energy. Your intuition and discernment will tell you. I think we've kind of sort of already partially established that our intuition and discernment can't necessarily always, it's not that it can't be trusted, but it's just like situations may not necessarily always play out the way that we think they will. But your intuition will tell you, your discernment will tell you, your work and the alignment that is produced because of it will let you know. So you don't have to worry about necessarily missing something that's worrying. All right. Vitruvian SKT, final message for me. Please, 2 cards at the most, maybe 3. 1 would be lovely, I guess. Ooh. The Scarlet Shield. I'm not going to stop here. And then there's the title card right behind it. Scarlet Shield has been coming out today just as much as that Archangel Commander. It'll come back out if it's supposed to. All right. It's the burden one. Saturn. Oh, it's 2 of them. This happened yesterday. A herald. The burden one and the herald of the flame. Herald of the veil, sorry. Excuse me. See, that's the one that has the beast of burden rather than Atlas. It's almost like that's what the oxen are for. Like, why get a cart if you're not going to attach it to the horse? Like, what was the point in the purpose if you're just going to do all this anyway? Bottom of the deck is the Hector, 5 of Swords. Venus and Aquarius. There's Venus and Aquarius, not to be confused with the Mercury and Aquarius. That was the 6 of Swords. All right, what is the message of this stronghold of the veil? Archangel of Glory, Angel of Art and Grace. I'm actually going to shuffle it. What is the message? The Politic, 3 of Scepters, and the Corruptor. The corrupt politician. The corrupt politician is actually interesting for the Stronghold of the Veil, Page of Pentacles, because it It's almost like it represents governing bodies or law making bodies. Um, it's like there's this interesting intersection of law and morality slash ethics here. Um, oh, look, and then there's another page at the bottom of the deck. That's the one that brought the extra message yesterday of the Four of Pentacles. Ivory Shield said no, so I don't know why you came looking over here. You ain't get it in the element of water, you ain't getting it in the element of fire either. You can try earth or air. That's what she said yesterday. It's like, oh, water said no. Oh, the element that flows and is fluid between all elements said no. Oh, the one that's, symbolizing the connection to the everything said no. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, maybe that's why the politic and the corruptor is here. Because when we get down here in the physical, we can do all kind of things to try to get our way. But anyway. The politic and the corruptor. Well, here's the Scorpio that I didn't see earlier. What am I doing with this? Stronghold of the flame. I'm not going to shuffle. The wheel of life. Jupiter. That's the message of the stronghold of the flame. It's the wheel of life. So maybe it's like, because I guess there was the question of like, why don't we use the things that are given to us to use? Like, why is there something that we're doing on our own when we don't necessarily have to? Now, the politic is three masculines coming together with wands that represent the past, present, and future to seek a prophecy. And this card, it's one prophecy that they all see in the fire, but they get three different vantage points to it, like three different sides to one story. And that's only the three that we see. It's also interesting that we see the sun rising or setting in the back under the present or behind the present masculine. And then here's the corruptor, which is the Seven of Cups. Honestly, this makes me think it's whenever we think that something won't work because it hasn't worked in the past, where we think that a certain solution isn't viable because, well, this happened over here or that happened over there. But like the corrupt politician is like the reason why. And it doesn't have to be a politician, but it's like it's because people weren't doing it right or because people were intentionally misusing, misrepresenting, mishandling something that we view it as like not viable. But it's like obviously if you were to adopt it as a solution, you would take certain cares and precautions to do it the right way, and then it might work out a lot better. But in general, it's just this like, it's almost like it feels like it speaks to the unfairness of life. That we come in to different types of families and living styles and living situations, and that we don't necessarily have the same access to the same physical resources. And so it's very like, well, if no one was there to teach us or instill in us or to inform us of certain things, then how are we to know? Especially within our developmental years when we didn't necessarily have the ability to make our own choices and decisions. So again, it is almost one of those recognitions from the divine of like, earth is hard, living life can be difficult, especially in certain situations and scenarios where you're not shown any better, where you're not taught any better, where no one is exhibiting better behaviors. And so you do the best you can with what you know. And then with the stronghold of the flame at the bottom of the deck now, with her message being the will of life, it's almost like the divine, in certain ways that some things come about. It's almost like the divine leading us towards certain things in order to help teach, show, and inform us of the things that we missed or that we didn't have. And then at that point, it's on us to whether we see it or not. Which is, again, it's like, well, it's like trying to find something and you don't even know what you're looking for. Or it's like you don't even know what you were meant to see in a certain situation. It's like, it's like one of those videos where there's a lot of stuff going on in the video. And then at the end of the video, they're like, did you notice the purple elephant? And you're like, the purple elephant, what? Where? And then it'll like rewind the video and then it'll highlight the purple elephant as it's like slowly moving in the background. And it's like there were all of these things at the front distracting me. You told me I was looking for something else. Now at the end of the video, you mentioned a purple elephant. I would have noticed the purple elephant. There was no purple elephant. And then you don't trust the video. You don't trust that when they rewound it, that the footage that they're showing you in the rewind is the same as the original footage that you watched moving forward. So you replay the video and it's there. After it's pointed out to you, after you know what you're looking for, you see it, you notice it. But until that moment, it's like there's so much going on. How is one to know? I guess the divine is just saying it's the will of life, girl. That's the earth game. Like it don't necessarily feel like it's offering any like real resolution, if there's any resolution that can be offered. Like it feels like it's just pointing out, yeah, we know it's like that. But maybe that's to validate the point that it's like to not be so certain of certain things that we blind ourselves to the revelations the revelations of others. All right. Oof, look, there she is again. You're doing great, sweetie. But at least this time she's got a shovel. Oh, we got some green on this tree too. We got some foliage. Okay. All right. And then we have the Herald of the Winds, Ventures of the Dauntless, Page of Swords energy. The Messenger from the Archangel Commander, or the Scarlet Shield. All right, 1 to 2 cards, maybe 3, 1 to 2. 1 to 2 cards, please. It's been over an hour and a half. Not the short video, but that's fine. 3 cards, 4 cards. Bottom of the deck is that Chariot again. Is this Chariot resting on water? Maybe they're moving. Light and Truth, Lux ex Veritas. This Chariot is moving over the water. We have our cardinal signs. Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. The one that's actually associated with the chariot. I'm like, that chariot is on the water. It's got this ankh in reverse at the center of the chest, though. You see that? What's that about? The Archangel of Mysteries is here. Angel who illuminates the shadow. With this thing that is very reminiscent of the Mayan thing, Mayan Incan, I don't know, that was at the bottom of the Scarlet Shield's shield, the thing that was sitting underneath the bird and the snake. Archangel of Mysteries, the Empress, the discerning one, Mars and Aries, Two of Wands, over the water, and the Apocalypse again. Apocalypse is coming up fairly often too here lately. Apocalypse, apocalypse, we crossed it with our dumbness. It's like, it feels like there's a turbulent energy. So it feels like, oh, and then the initiate is under the chariot. It feels like the chariot is coming in to land, but it's like as the chariot goes from sea or water to land, like there's something within the chariot that changes. Like that's the turbulence. It's like when an airplane takes off and then the little wheel goes in and the other things happen. I don't know if the wings do something, but it's like it's these mechanical transformations that happen to assist the vehicle in navigating and moving through the new medium that it's in. So, right. So, with the airplane, it's like when it goes from land to air and then from air back to land, there are mechanical changes. And that's what feels like that turbulent energy. But it's just like because things are like lifting or changing or doing whatever. Now, this is an interesting energy. It feels like the identity of the Empress is unknown. And that's the mystery that's going to be revealed. But after the Empress's identity is revealed, then there's this apocalypse energy, which is interesting. It don't necessarily got to be bad. It could be like, um, a tower. That's interesting. This is take it as it resonates. This is real. What does this mean to you? Type of energy. Archangel of Mysteries, the Empress, the Discerning One, and the Apocalypse. Because whatever it's saying to me, I ain't saying to you. So, all right. Well, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. The little white book has judgment as the cover. Which is interesting. Because now it feels like something is being revealed, like you're getting a little guidebook. Now the little white book doesn't necessarily tell you everything about the cards, but each card has an entry. It's got spreads, it's got some other stuff. It gives you context or a touch point. Sometimes it can be better than nothing. Sometimes having a little bit of information is worse than having no information. But in those instances, in particular, we live life and find out. Yeah. I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find. I hope that be it a blade of miracle that cuts through tempest and storm and difficulty and challenge in your life, that I guess that you can allow yourself to like experience life that is not as riddled with challenge. Because I think sometimes, especially if we're used to difficulty, whenever we find ourselves in peace or a little bit of calm, it can be unsettling. And we cannot know, like, what do I do? Like, or then we enter this space of like waiting for the other shoe to drop or waiting for things to get chaotic again or whatever. So we don't even necessarily get to appreciate that peace as much as we could. But at that point, again, it's like the body has become so used to a lot of stuff that it's just takes time. I hope you allow yourself time. And I guess I'll probably see you tomorrow. Hopefully not. Well, the new moon is coming up. Maybe I'll do a new moon something. Again, I don't even know what this was about today. It was just like, it's real live life and find out times. But I guess with the Emperor came out with finding out. Maybe that's why I was like, because that Emperor energy is kind of major. For the other one to be the Six of Swords, the world is the world. Maybe that's what I was going to say about the world. Like, the world doesn't necessarily feel like it's in our control. But with that Emperor and Six of Swords quester energy, it's a different way of interacting with it. And that's what was surprising. But again, if that's in the find out, then I'm not surprised that the Archangel Commander and the Archangel Commander energy keeps coming out. Like, that may be the thing that was for us to learn within this past however long. It's the thing that's been coming to the surface for us to, and maybe that's the mask and the scythe too. Maybe because there is a way to interpret it where it's not necessarily about us being mutable to fit a certain situation. It's more like us being well, I guess it's the same. It's like us being able to maintain presence and to keep showing up and to not be triggered as much, I guess is an easy way to put it, when situations and circumstances come up, with a certain element of allowing whatever and doing our best and realizing that other people are doing their best when they want to. Because, we people, we don't always want to do our best. I know there's definitely times I don't want to do my best. Sometimes I just like want to be petty. But I'm like, no. Anyway. Did somebody say, oh yeah, somebody posted on Facebook. I was like, I'm a petty sun with a cold-hearted moon and rising. It was like Pisces. They can be so sweet, but so petty or something like that. That's a paraphrase, but I was like, woo, I can be a little petty. It's fine. Anyway, there's power in pettiness. That's what the Emperor is telling me. Be petty with purpose. Anyway, I will catch y'all later. I hope y'all have all of the things. I hope you get all of what you want. And I hope that whatever is for you to do in a situation too, that I guess I also hope you to allow yourself an expanding and evolving world and self. Like, you allow yourself to evolve and expand as well. I don't know if in all of the expansion there are these gray areas. There are undefined areas. And in those undefined areas, we may have a little bit more wiggle room and fluidity and flexibility to Emperor, Empress, create something that is just like it's almost like it's designated for open creation, but instead of it being like designated for open creation, it almost reads as more like it's unclaimed. So whoever finds themselves there get to do whatever with that space. I don't know. Anyway, what do I know? Nothing. Nada. Everything. Nothing. Nothing.